Murthy had a productive meeting yesterday about the need to prevent a default and avoid a catastrophe, for our economy.
Not a joke.
They both reiterated that default is off the table and only way forward is in good faith and
That's amazing.
toward a bipartisan budget agreement. While areas of disagreement remain, the president, the speaker, and their teams will continue to discuss the path forward. Over the past week, the president's negotiating team has proposed options to reduce the deficit that both parties can support, while also making clear that there are fundamental priorities that must be protected in this process. Everyone understands that the consequences of a first ever default would be severe for the American people and the American economy. It would wipe out as many as 8 million jobs, trigger a recession, devastate retirement accounts, increase costs, damage our international reputation. All of this would undermine the historic economic progress we've made under this president this past 2 years. 12.7 million jobs, 3.4% unemployment rate, a made in America manufacturing boom.
Really?
Meanwhile, $1.7 trillion in deficit reduction, which is a record. America is not a deadbeat nation. We pay our bills. We have never defaulted in our history, and we will never.
Oh my God.
Lastly, President Biden has made tackling the mental health crisis, particularly among our youth, a top priority. Sadly, there is undeniable evidence that social media has negatively affected youth mental health. Research shows that anxiety, depression, sadness, and suicidal thoughts are on the rise. Today, during National Mental Health Awareness Month, the Biden-Harris administration is announcing the development of a new interagency task force on kids' online health and safety, and a series of additional actions from several agencies to safeguard children's privacy, mental health, and safety online. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy also released a new advisory on social media and youth mental health that calls on policymakers, technology companies, researchers, parents, and young people to work together to make social media safer for kids.
It's an odd thing to say.
These new administration-wide actions will help advance President Biden's national strategy to tackle the mental health crisis and protect the health and well-being of our nation's young people. As we continue to mark Mental Health Awareness Month, the Biden-Harris administration remains committed to ending this crisis and ensuring everyone can access the care they need to live full and happy lives. Mm-hmm. With that, Chris, you want to kick us off, please?
Yeah, a few questions of the budget negotiations.
Sure.
Republicans have said the White House has shown a lack of urgency around negotiations. We're 9 days from the end of the month, and under House rules, it could take 4 days to get a deal on the floor for a vote. The Speaker wants a deal to be cut this week. What is the White House's deadline for reaching a deal to get it for a vote in time?
So look, as I stated, the conversations, as the Speaker has stated, as we have stated, have been productive, which is important. Clearly, that we're moving forward. As I think just moments ago, the team from the White House who were on the Hill for the budget negotiation that just ended. They met for hours, and so they're going to be returning and clearly give the president an update. But look, this is.
Enough! Silence! I can't take this shit no more.
This is urgent, but this is not political. This is about doing the work and the business of the American people. This is something that we have said over and over again for the past 5 months, that this is for Congress to act. This is their constitutional duty. So we've been very clear, and we've shown urgency from here. And look, we think Republicans saying that the White House is not showing any urgency is a ridiculous question, is a ridiculous statement for them to be making. And so we've been saying this for months. Congress must ask, Congress needs to act, and we'll continue to lay the line on that.
So,
how ironic.
Oftentimes when these meetings happen, the White House or other parties call them productive. That's the word is often used. But can you say that we're actually closer to a deal now than we were last week?
So what I can say is reiterate what the president and the speaker said. The speaker said this yesterday, that these talks, these conversations, the conversation yesterday was productive. And I think that's important when you're hearing that in these types of negotiations, as we know, are very difficult, right? Negotiations, this is nothing new. They are incredibly tough. And so when you hear it from both sides saying that they're productive, I think that's an important statement. I'm just not going to get into any further details.
The last question is, the Treasury is looking for ways to delay certain payments. Is the administration trying to push back the X date? Is there potential that a deal won't be reached and you're going to need to kind of juggle these payments to make
So look,
happen?
anything relating to the X date or that is concerning how to move forward here as it relates to that, I would refer you to the Treasury Department on their communications with agency. That is something that they would certainly lay out. As the Treasury said yesterday, it's important to have accurate information about inflows and outflows to the government so they can continue to produce an accurate forecast for Congress of when cash and extraordinary measure expire. So this sort of communication is actually consistent with prior debt limit impasses, so that is something for sure that the Treasury Department will have more to share on.
We keep hearing these optimistic statements. You've noted, the meeting was productive, but we aren't seeing any actual progress. In fact, the speaker just said we are nowhere near a deal. So why the optimism?
Look, if everyone is working in good faith and recognizes that no one is going to get, either side is going to get exactly what they want, we'll get it done. That's the way we see this. Coming out of the meeting yesterday, we've said this, the president said this, both the president and the speaker reiterated that default is off the table. So now we have to do this in good faith. We have to move forward. I believe the team has been meeting for a couple of hours this morning. As I just said, they just
we go.
Ended their conversation from this morning. They met until late into the evening last night, so that is important. That is good. We're seeing movement. I'm just not going to get into specifics of where we are. We believe that this should get done as soon as possible. And again, they've been productive. We've heard that from the speaker. We've heard that from the president. The meetings continue to occur and happen on the staff level, and we're happy to see that.
I think we're just trying to understand, what does productive mean, though? I mean, do you agree with the speaker that you're nowhere near a deal right now?
Look, I'm going to let the speaker speak for himself. What I can say is, and what the president, and reiterate what the president has said, I have not gotten a download, obviously, from this morning's meeting. The president's going to get certainly an update from his team, his negotiation team, once they get back, and there's a moment to do so on the president's schedule. From what I know, from what I can tell you at this moment, the meeting that the president had with the speaker yesterday was indeed productive, and we're going to continue to let the staffers, the negotiation teams continue to have this conversation and meet.